the page, king flip the script, and blow holes in the pyramid. Stack it brick for brick till the skyscraper splits. Open your eyelids, 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 eyelids. Straight from the sewer, it's live and we rolling, turn them lights down, coping with the vibe, something new. I told them break out, bring the ruckus. It's MC Black Daniels, y'all ain't know how we living. My mind is hard to the finest when they promote blindness to reach for your sinus. Level up the cause and who masterminded mistake with for kindness in times of the crisis. Lost on my hindsight, go get my mind right, cause I ignite full circle like snake satellites. Be up the mask, cause I will not fold, walking my own way to see how deep the rabbit hole goes. Early morning, yawning, I ain't got no sleep, I've been raving since last week. Early morning, yawning, yes you know. Here we go. Early morning, yawning, I ain't got no sleep. I've been raving since last week. Early morning, yawning, yes you know. Here we since last week. Early morning, yawning, yes you know. Here we go. Early morning, yawning, I ain't got no sleep. I've been raving since last week. It's early morning, yawning, yes you know. Here we go.
Hello and welcome here at onlinelessons.tv. My name is Florian Alexander Zorn and I'm the host of this evening for you. I'm really proud to present you one of the up-and-coming drummers here in Europe. His name is Anders Meinhardt. And everybody who never heard about him, please make sure to check out his Facebook, his YouTube channel. It's an amazing drumming artist, and the topic of this live stream is going to be, so to say, electronic music, jungle, drum and bass in general. So if you do have any questions, just type them in directly into the chat. I can read it here and can forward it directly to Anders. And I don't want to talk too much. Anders, glad to have you here in our studios.
Thank you. Likewise.
I'm
honored.
Absolutely, we are honored to have you here. I have to admit, we rarely had artists here coming with a kit looking like that, sounding phenomenal like that. You've got such a unique style. And the thing is, first question from me is, how did it all come about that you got attracted to electronic music like you are today?
Well, actually, I think 20 years ago, I was much more into heavy rock and metal, that kind of music.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, or luckily, I didn't have anyone to play that kind of music.
Okay.
So my elder brother, my big
Yeah.
brother, he was actually listening to this kind of jungle music, Square Pusher and FX Twin and some artists like that. And I got kind of hooked
With
up
that,
with that energy, the vibe of drum and bass, the fusion between the extreme heavy energy,
Yes.
the same energy as in heavy rock metal,
yes,
but at the same time it has this tight, funkiness. So it's kind of a thing in between
Of
heavy
course.
rock and funk
Yeah.
beat music. So that's kind of what attracted me in the beginning. And obviously, the whole idea, okay, is it possible to play this kind of music
Yeah.
on live drums? That was a big part of it as well.
And how did you manage to find the first people to play that kind of stuff live? Because on the other hand, I mean, you told that finding people playing heavy music was rare to find at that time. But I guess even jungle music is not the typical stuff you can play in every club, so to say.
Well, I started just, I just headed for my basement rehearsal room at that time.
Yeah.
And I got up 2 years later.
Yeah.
And then I actually find this bass player from Norway, which I teamed up with, and we started my band f.u.k.t, which
Yeah.
we played with for 10 years. And we had this idea, it was a quest, I guess you could call it that. Is it possible to play this kind of music? We wanted to do the exact same thing as a DJ does to a drum and bass party. Is it possible for a band to do the exact same thing, playing the same high energy level concert for 1 hour, 1 hour and a half?
And how did you then start? I mean, the thing is, of course, you're listening to that music. I guess that you try to play it, but I mean, everybody who tried to play beats in that kind of tempo and all that different kind of layers knows that it's really, really hard. So
Yeah.
how did you start with that? Did you transcribe those grooves or just play along with that? Or
I did
how did it come?
a lot of things. I did transcribe a lot of grooves, a lot of tracks. I remember some of the first things I were having difficulties about was just playing the 8 notes in tempo 180 or so. And that was when I got into the whole, finger technique, all that Jojo Mayer stuff. So in order to be able to play the 8 notes constantly in that tempo, I needed to find the technique and to relax in my hand while playing.
And of course, I guess the tunes are not like pop songs. I mean, in
Oh,
a pop song, you do have like 3 minutes to go.
Yeah,
And of
yeah.
course, when it comes to jungle, it's like endless if you're playing in a club, so to
Yeah,
say.
actually, the tracks, they could be twice as long. It's not a radio hit, but drum and bass tracks or jungle tracks or any kind of tracks in the electronic music is basically kind of the same length, 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay.
But the thing is that a DJ is beat mixing the tracks together, so to people who's not used to listening to this kind of music, it sounds like a track that is 1 hour long.
Yeah.
But it actually consists of 20 tracks. As the tracks I just did, I actually played 2 tracks made by some of my very good friends from Copenhagen, DJ Shield and Black Daniels,
Okay.
whom I'm playing with
Yeah.
lots of concerts.
The first track was also, the first medley was also from Black Daniels,
Yeah,
right?
both tracks
Bells,
actually.
both,
Yeah,
yeah. Mhm.
Black Daniels tracks, both of them. So it's one thing in the rehearsal room to figure out how we're gonna play this track and what sounds, what works. But it's almost just as big a thing to work out how to go from one track to another, because
Okay.
you rarely stop and say, okay, now we're gonna play a track and this song is about
Yes,
when
sure.
my boyfriend left me, or
Whatever, yeah,
Whatever,
it's
yeah.
just, it has to be in the flow all the time, right?
exactly.
Tons of questions coming in, and people from all over the world are watching right now, like from Sweden, from Italy, and even South America. So one question, the first question I want to forward to you is from Stefano. He's from Italy, and
Yeah.
he's asking regarding your side stick technique. That side stick sounds phenomenal. Is there any post production, so to say, that we do on that sound, or how do you get such a fat backbeat or side stick sound?
Well, first of all, I'm doing the old trick of turning the drumstick
course.
the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah, but it sounds really, really full and loud. I mean, you're lifting the hand quite a lot, right? Yeah.
I'm not sure. One thing I was aware of is that in order to make both side stick backbeat and side stick ghost notes, there needs to be a huge difference, a huge gap between the high and the low.
Of course.
So I'm kind of operating with the 2 levels,
Okay.
but I'm always keeping the tip of the stick to the head of the snare drum in order to have control, and also this part of the hand. These 2 parts always, they never leave the head.
Okay.
So I guess through the years it's kind of developed.
Yeah.
Never gave it that much of a thought. Then of course the whole sound of the basic snare drum
Yeah.
is a very deep. It's 8 inches deep,
Deep,
14
exactly.
by 18, and it's a Power Stroke 4 coated. So it's a very muffled, heavy head, and I tuned it quite heavily. So
Yeah. All
Yeah,
in
I
all.
hope-
Can you just demonstrate some grooves incorporating
Yeah.
this technique? Yeah.
what I did in the beginning of the 2 tracks. Yeah.
Great.
That's
Absolutely. Kevin is asking right away from Atlanta. He's asking, like, obviously, I was sure that this question will come.
Yeah.
You're playing tons of hi-hats. And
Yes.
the thing is, what is the concept behind it? Because, I mean, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hi-hats all in
Yeah.
all. And how do you incorporate them? And how did it all come about using so many hi-hats?
Of course this one
Yeah.
is my main hi-hat. It's a basic, just ordinary hi-hat stand. Quite early in this quest about how to play drum bass live, is it possible?
Yeah.
I had the challenge of reproducing those constant 16th notes on hi-hat while being able to play ghost notes on the snare drum and, for instance, quarter notes on a right cymbal. Or there were so many layers in the music, and one of them was these constant hi-hat 16th notes. And I couldn't play all of them with both my hands, and then I wouldn't be able to play the ghost notes. And
Of course.
so
yeah.
I was actually through quite a few ideas and techniques how to play these 16 notes before I ended up with this hi-hat trick, which for some reason that's what I call it. That's what it's called for now, the hi-hat trick. But it's basically you play all the 8 notes with my right hand on this extra add-on,
which is
hi-hat,
closed,
which is always closed.
But it's the same model than you're using.
Exactly, my own signature model, electro. So it's always closed, and I play the 1 and 2 and
Yes.
and then in between those 8 notes, I play the offbeat 16th notes with my left foot. So instead of playing with my alternating between my right and left hand, it's between the right and left foot.
Yes.
So
But
it's actually quite simple, just playing 1 E and E 2 E. That's basically the hi-hat trick. And the way I started rehearsing that was just take a basic pop rock drum book with, that kind of rock grooves. And then playing those grooves, applying the hi-hat groove, starting off in tempo 100 BPM. And then slowly increasing the tempo.
But how did you come to that kind of tempo? Because, I mean, the thing is, of course, if you're playing it slow like that, everybody gets it. It's ridiculous to play a, so to say, a single stroke roll between the right hand and the left foot. So how long did it take you to get there? I don't think it came overnight, right?
No, not at all. I guess I rehearsed it for 1 or 2 years alone before bringing it to the rehearsal room with a band and using it like a thing. But the first 4 years with my band f.u.k.t, I've heard some of the recordings from that time, and it's not always as tight and funky as it hopefully is now. So it takes a few years, and I was very consistent in rehearsing every day and all that. So it took a lot of time.
Yeah, but you definitely can hear that there's some practice time in there. It sounds phenomenal.
For now, I can't really. I would never play any sort of music without having this extra hi-hat, because even if I'm playing, I play with a pop singer in Denmark called Medina, and most of the stuff is perhaps in tempo 120 BPM, and it's house or dance or what you call it, pop music. So a groove could be but the thing is, even though it's just 2 or 3 ghost notes placed in the hi-hat, it enables me to do other stuff with my left hand. So I feel more free using that kind of technique.
And I see, I mean, the cool thing about your left hand is it can focus on playing the beats on the snare drum exactly. So you don't have those kind of ways getting around the drum kit. It's a clever concept, totally. Other questions are coming in here from Michael. And many others saying hello from Stockholm or wherever.
Hello.
But, the thing is, that bamboo stick or that giant bamboo thing, what is it? I mean, I see a Pearl logo on there. Did you made it by your own, or what is it?
No, not at all. It's, well, for the last couple of years, I've been kind of into this whole tribal stuff, tribal music, all drums, no cymbals. Something that sounds like, being out in the jungle, not in the jungle music, but in the bush, actually. And I came across this instrument, percussion instrument, in the Pearl catalog. And actually, I bought it without knowing how it did sound. But it seemed like it would sound something I could use in my my
environment,
sound vocabulary. Okay. So it's actually quite new. I got it a few months ago, so it's not one of my basic things in the drum kit, but I use it quite often. Yeah.
Nice. So We are collecting more questions for you. There are
Yeah.
already some of them are here, but is it okay to play another track?
Yeah, I could
Yeah.
play the track while using the
Perfect. Yeah,
f.u.k.t. This is a track called Woodpecker, and this one
perfectly fits.
actually sounds like a woodpecker. Also by DJ Shield.
Cool.
Shout out. Yeah.
Phenomenal playing. The cool thing is, I mean, I just listened to it via headphones, but this kit sounds so phenomenal in this room. As I said, we rarely had people coming in with the kits sounding like that, and tons of questions are coming in regarding your equipment also. So the thing is, one question is coming with your floor tom.
Yeah.
One guy is asking here, it's even lower than the floor tom of Benny Grab. How did you tune it like that? So how did it get so low?
Well,
so to say?
that is kind of a trick.
Okay.
This 16th inch floor tom has two heads, but actually
Okay.
the resonant head, we cut a almost 10-inch hole in it,
Okay.
so it barely even resonates at all.
Okay.
So it's like having a floor tom with only a better head,
Okay.
and that's the reason why it's so muted and deaf.
Great. But the cool thing is, I mean, I know that if you're leaving the razor side drum head off in the room, it doesn't sound that good then. But this one sounds really huge also. So it's cool to just cut a hole in there. It's a cool idea, definitely.
But basically, my thoughts about this drum kit and the way I like to tune it is basically that everything, all instruments, all hi-hats, all drums, almost everything, all sounds are very short.
Okay.
Because the music I play is basically very busy.
Exactly.
So there isn't room for any long sustain and all that. So every tom or snare drum or bass drum or even the hi-hats has very short sounds. I have the crashes, of course, and the ride cymbal, and the
auxiliary
bass drum.
Okay.
And I know that wasn't the question, but that is basically the
maybe we can do a detailed run through. Let's do that regarding only the specs from the shells, so to say, because it's a huge bass drum. It's 24 by 14,
15, I think, actually. Yes,
15. Okay. And so can you just give us a run through the equipment here?
Yeah,
you're using.
Bass drum is 24 times 15.
Yeah.
Main snare is 14 times 8. Snare 2 is a 10-inch times, I think it's 5.5.
Yeah, 6, I guess.
6.
5.5, or 6. Yeah.
And then the third snare is a 14 times 5.5.
Okay.
And my thing, the main goal about these 3 snares is to make them sound different.
Okay.
So the main snare is, very powerful and very deep.
Yeah.
And I pitched it all the way up. But of course, a 10-inch snare would be even higher. So the difference. And the third snare, that's kind of my rowdy snare, because it has the sustain and it's sounding like a drunk snare. A dirty snare.
Yeah.
So I have these 3 snare drum sounds, and they fit together. So it enables me to play different grooves with different snare drum sounds, and that's what I like. Sometimes I like to add a 10-inch cymbal.
Yeah. To get this distorted kind of sound.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
And then I have the bass drums. Yeah, of course, the 24-inch bass drum. And then the auxiliary bass drum is actually a floor tom 14 times 12, I think it is.
Okay.
It could be 14 times 14. I have used 16 times 16 or even 18 times 16. The last couple of weeks I've used this 14 since it has a very high pitch, so the difference between my main bass drum and the extra bass drum is huge.
Okay.
And that is the drum that has the longest sustain in my drum kit.
Nice.
I tried to emulate an 808 bass drum.
Can you give us some examples how you incorporate that bass drum into your playing? Because you with the tracks you didn't use it, right?
I used it a couple of times as a fill.
Yes.
As a fill, because I don't have the toms. That's not the sound of drum and bass or breakbeats. It's not gospel chopping, although I can't help myself doing it sometimes. But in that kind of music, drum bass, quite often the fills are created just by playing a completely different groove with a different sound. So if the main groove is something like this, and I suddenly change or switch into it has the.
Yeah.
It feels like playing two different drum kits, and
Totally.
basically it is.
Yeah.
So this setup gives me at least two, maybe three different setups
Yes.
in one.
Great, great. And next is the choppers, so to say, you're using there. How do you incorporate them into your playing?
These
Yes,
the crashers.
Crashers.
Well,
yeah.
that was kind of almost. Besides this kata bamboo,
Yeah.
I guess these crashers are the newest
addition to your
addition to my setup, and it happened because trap music influenced almost all kinds of music last 4, 5, 6 years. So as I came from playing the hi-hat trick and constant 16 notes or groups of 16 notes, I thought that was kind of the next step. Okay, I learned to play drum bass, trap. Is that possible for me to play? And I quite easily found that it didn't work out with the sound of cymbals.
Yeah.
Doesn't really work for that kind of. And then I had these crashers. And that kind of sounds like 808 hi-hats in that trap kind of music. So that's kind of my take on playing trap hi-hats.
Nice. We got another question coming in here from Juan, and Juan is asking, you're a professional musician and you're making a living out of playing what you do. So how hard do you find it nowadays to play or to only live from live music?
Well, I'm not entirely living from playing live music, although that is, especially in the summer, I play lots of festivals, especially in Denmark. And I work as a session drummer for different artists in Denmark.
Okay.
As well as playing with Black Daniels, playing drum bass, and at the time we were active with f.u.k.t. We played a lot. But in order to live, and I'm 35, so I don't just sleep at a friend's on a friend's couch every night. So I have a day job, 14 hours a week, something like that, as a music teacher. And sometimes the whole calendar completely crashes when there's tons of festivals and the school starts and all that. But as a session drummer, as a live hired gun, I actually think there are more live gigs now than
back in the days.
But perhaps that has to be because I get more jobs and play better. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
It's of course it's up and down, and sometimes I haven't. I'm not playing for months, and sometimes I can't do all the shows, so I have to.
Exactly. It always comes to one point,
Yeah.
right? It's always like that.
Exactly.
Like great. So we are already coming here to an end, but I'm sure you do have another track here.
I do. I do.
But before we play that, can you give us a run through where the people can contact you? Do you have a website? And I'm sure Facebook, Instagram.
I'm definitely most active on my Facebook page.
Okay.
The page of Anders Meinhardt.
Okay, so Anders Meinhardt. So type it in for you guys, everybody who watched that live stream now. So please go to Anders' Facebook page and totally check out what this guy is doing. Hopefully we will see a lot more of him in the future, and I'm sure we will. Hopefully we will have him here again, maybe next year or whatever. So if you enjoyed this live stream, make sure to also attend our site at onlinelessons.tv, www.onlinelessons.tv, because there at the rider on air, you can check out the next live streams. So just to mention a few, on Friday we do a live stream with Carl Brazil, on Monday with Fausto Cuevas and Raul Pineda, that's the rhythm section of Jennifer Lopez. And on Tuesday, another Pearl artist, Todd Zuckerman, is coming in our studios, and we're really, really happy to have him here. So a big shout out, of course, goes also out to our cooperation partner here on that side, Pearl Drums Europe. So big thank you to all the guys over there, Frank and all the other people. They made that possible, that you can watch this live stream. So thanks again, and enjoy the last appearance here of Anders Meinhardt. Thanks for tuning in.